It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're over a month now since the federal government temporarily suspended the activities of Twitter here in Nigeria. Still no headway has been made there. A lot of Nigerians are hoping that this does not snowball into something much worse with regards to freedom of speech and, of course, the media. Hopefully this gets resolved as quickly as possible. COVID-19, of course, is still very much a pandemic across the world. We're seeing very crazy and scary numbers in so many countries. We're hearing that I think South Africa had their highest number yesterday of daily infections since the pandemic started last year. So that should be a cause of worry for everybody. So hopefully everybody out there is doing their best to stay safe. We are still sort of in a good space, I want to believe, here in Nigeria. The NCDC says they're still on top of things. We hope things stay this way and probably even get better. We don't want to snowball back, to where things were at the start of the pandemic last year here in Nigeria. But let's kick off the show today. Brain drain has been a sort of a part of Nigerian history. There was a serious phase, I think, in the 80s, in the military era, when a lot of Nigerians left the country and moved abroad, for greener pastures. There was even a very famous song then about Andrew checking out, which sort of characterized what the thing was at the time. That seems to be happening again, and there's a serious sort of hunger by a lot of young Nigerians to exit the country and start a life anywhere else but in Nigeria. So we're going to be talking about that today. I have joined by two guests, one in the diaspora, one here in Nigeria, and they're going to be giving a bit of a debate on this topic. Max Okereke, if you can hear me, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Ebuka. Thanks for having me on the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me. So just before we go too far, and I just want to know, when did you leave Nigeria? Why did you leave?
Oh, okay. I was out in 2016, and my why actually. Okay, basically, it's been it's different struggles. Whatever it is you're doing in whatever industry that you function in, and I've been in broadcasting for a while, and I remember a couple of years ago working with a particular media organization where I wasn't getting any type of remuneration, and I was given the impression that I was given the exposure and all of that stuff, and I was also an associate producer on the show as well too, doing this beautiful and amazing things, no form of remunerations at all, and with all the logistics and welfare, everything just basically was just on me and all of that. And I had to go through this for almost 2 years, So that and every other, thing aside. And also I was to have another, opportunity with another media organization as well. After we were done filming the pilot episode and everything. And then I told myself, I said, if this works, then I know that it's a sign from God or the universe in a way. They're like, okay, you can just keep doing what you're doing and all of that. But and then I told myself, okay, if it doesn't work, then that's a sign for you to probably, change environments and try this somewhere else, So eventually, after the pilot episode of everything and the project wasn't, approved because management at the time was, even retrenching and wasn't even looking at adding any more, shows to the belt and all of that. So I was like, okay, let me, take the leap of faith and try my career outside the country and see how well that I do and all of that. And ever since then, it's been wonderful. There's a lot of, contributing factors to this whole thing, I feel like Nigeria at the moment is not an enabling environment, especially for creatives and all of that. I was listening to you begin the show with the Twitter ban still very much on. Twitter being the only tool that creatives are using to get their works out there has been banned. What are they going to do? What other available means do they have to market themselves in a social media age where we're literally advantaged to put our works out there for people to see. So yeah, it's a whole lot of, factors around that. It's not an enabling environment at all. Everything literally, edges against you. The more you
Okay.
work, the more.
Yeah,
What?
sorry to cut you in there. I mean, I hear your point, and it might be valid, but at the same time, there's the argument, especially from the federal government, saying we all have to stay here to build the country. Like I said, even in the 80s, when the military administration was pretty heavy here in Nigeria, we witnessed this
Right.
happening. But it was those who stayed back and fought for democracy that got us the democracy that we are, trying to build now. If we all left, what would have been of the country? So what are your thoughts on that?
It's a very good point as well. But the thing is, like everybody cannot, build the country at the same time. I feel like according to destiny or something, maybe it is in the calendar for certain people to do that. Okay, so while others are inspired to remain and keep fighting and all of that, maybe some of us can be functioning from another environment and we're waiting for that to happen. But the thing is that somebody has to do that. But yet at the same time, it is all frustrating. And they're like, making all of these statements that basically they're not even living for it. They're not even like, doing it. I feel like the whole thing is just like, hypocritical. Like everything is literally edging against you. Everything, everything. I remember when I was in Europe, just was it like 2 years ago? One of my uncles, was just talking about this amazing project that he wanted to do in our home state, in Nigeria. And, he was just outlining the whole challenges that he had to go through and everything, in setting up what he wanted to do. And this is somebody who's making a lot of progress in his county in Germany and doing so much work. And just hearing him speak, he's so heartbroken that he can't even be allowed to do this in Nigeria, like without, various drama and, you just have to know somebody in government to be able to succeed. You just have to, have somebody in high places to be able to like, do what you have to do. It is all frustrating. And then coming back to Germany, like he was just all down, all motivation and inspiration, everything down totally. And he was like, you know what, I'm not going back there. I would just remain here and be a blessing and keep doing what I'm doing. And it's really sad because
All right.
the West, every other part of the world is enjoying everything that we have to offer Nigerians actually.
Okay, I'll come back to you now, but we're also joined by Joyce Daniels, who's a social engineering practitioner here in Nigeria. Joyce, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Ebuka. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you've been listening to the conversation. Of course, you are here in Nigeria. What is keeping you here? Because like he said, there's so many reasons for people to want to leave, especially young Nigerians who are trying to start their lives. I mean, if anybody who's on social media sees Canada trend every other week because of the hunger for young Nigerians to want to just leave and start what they call a more comfortable life outside of Nigeria. What's keeping you here?
Ebuka, what's keeping me here is my responsibility toward building the country. I was 8 years old when I was being taught under the sun on the assembly line, Ikosi Sikeleni, because a man called Nelson Mandela had just been released from prison in trying to make things work in his country, right? And so at that young age, I had the understanding that Nigeria needs me and as many other Nigerians as are willing, able, and ready to make the sacrifice for Nigeria. So that's what's keeping me. It's been a long time coming. In my field as a speaker and as a social engineering practitioner, I have the opportunity to make a change in helping people re-engineer their mindsets to re-engineer society. Ebuka, I've worked as a master of ceremonies for 14 years. I have trained over 1,000 masters of ceremonies. If I left, I don't know who would have trained them. I'm here because I'm asking what I can do to make the difference and not necessarily what the country can do for me. Let me also make it very clear, Ebuka, that I am not against anybody living in the country because we are all different. We all have our different tracks. We all have our different thresholds. We all have our different thresholds for what we can accommodate per time. So as a mindset coach, I'm also training people to deal with issues every single day. How you deal with one issue might be how you deal with others. I'm dealing with poor internet here right now, Ika. How I respond to it, even though it might be a small issue, is how I would respond to other bigger issues. So I'm here for what I can do and what I can give to Nigeria.
Very valid points there, but I mean, not many people are able to stay as resilient as you have. Like we had Max talk about earlier, that people who have had jobs either lost them and didn't find any headway. I mean, you are able to do what you're doing because you're an entrepreneur and you run your business. People look for work endlessly. You know, how do you convince someone like that, for example, who's probably gone through years of just a tough cycle in their careers or with whatever it is because of the country they live in? We can't lie about.
So I can give information. I can give.
Go on.
Sorry, Book, I lost you there for a moment.
You can go on. You can go on.
The last thing you said.
Okay, I'm just saying, what do you tell someone like that who just believes, you know, that I can't sort of bloom or blossom because I live in this country?
Like I said,
Can you hear me?
Ebuka. Okay, I can hear you now. Please say that.
Okay. I was asking, what do you tell a young Nigerian who's trying to start a new life or start a life or sort of just come out of whatever tough spot there and tell them that they can still thrive in a country like this where they feel like they can't?
As a mindset coach, as a social engineer, I'm trying to piece together what you said. How can I convince someone who has gone through a tough time to stay, right?
Yeah.
So let me say that conviction is a response. I will give information. I can teach about steps to building confidence and courage. I can teach about understanding what we call enlightened self-interest, where we're doing things that we do not just for our gain, but for greater good. I can teach about the fact that it is the Nigerian citizens, it is citizens of any country in the world that build their country. So it is Nigerian citizens that will build Nigeria. Of course, we're very religious people. I can cite several instances in the Bible where people, especially the children of Israel, had to come back to their own land to build their land. I can talk about the fact that staying in Nigeria gives us kind of like low entry barriers to being known, to being great, because there's not a lot of greatness. So when the few people like you and I, Ebuka, stay back, guess what? We grow very fast because we fight through. When we leave, we can get lost in the crowd, depending, of course, on what your purpose is, your vision is. I can take you through an experience to understand your personal vision, purpose, values, and see if you can align. That's why I made the disclaimer earlier that it's not about staying or leaving. It's wherever you are, how relevant are you? Are you building the community where you are? And then, of course, if you are in Nigeria, how can your skills, your talents, your gifts build? I can help you develop the fighting skills because you need to learn how to fight through, how to stay through. And there are processes, there are linguistic processes, there are neurological processes to engage, to grow. Ebuka, I can also talk about the fact that we win when we stay to build, when we together learn how to build. I can also teach the fact that, of course, we hear it all the time, what doesn't kill you will only make you stronger. But for you to become stronger, you need to learn how to become stronger. None of us learns to, you don't start driving because you're 65. You start driving because you learn how to drive. You don't become strong because you're a Nigerian. You learn how to be strong. So there are things to do to learn to be stronger. And that's what I teach as an individual and, of course, as an organization. And we're seeing it working. It comes from the family. It comes from...
Okay. I think we lost Joyce there. We'll come back to her if we still have her. But let me go back to you now, Max. Still talking about, a few of the points she raised there, about who's going to do the work if nobody stays back here. It's very hard for, as a Nigerian, yes, we know we get a lot of remittances from Nigerians who stay abroad. It's probably one of the biggest sources of revenue for the country. But at the same time, being back here and doing the work is extremely vital. And it's very hard for government, for example, to understand why, being out there should be the option for a lot of people. Yes, we blame government sometimes, or most of the time, for the reason why things are not working here. But do you see a way as a Nigerian living in New York now, how you are sort of working to make Nigeria better?
Oh yeah, I will be, it will be a wonderful pleasure for me to talk about that. So now I'm a media owner. I'm the founder and CEO of Spurplay Media LLC right here in New York. And we have the arm of a Spurplay internationally and Spurplay Africa. So we're basically into, pop culture reviews, critiquing films and music and all of that, everything that has to do with pop culture. And I'm happy to, announce that, Netflix just partnered with us, recently. So here's what I did. I made sure that all of my staff writers, 80% of my staff writers are all, based in Nigeria. So that's like, job opportunities for them and, contributing to the economy. So I made sure of that. I could have as well gone to, the New York State University or Brooklyn College to get, interns or writers, employ full-time staff to write and, work and all of that. But I had to come down to Nigeria and we have just the staff in the UK. So yeah, I feel like every Nigerians in diaspora, whatever it is that you're doing as an entrepreneur, or whatever, just think home. It's also, a level where you can create opportunities for people back home. There's a lot of young people. There's a lot of, creatives who are seeking for opportunities. So if they cannot find the jobs, right there in Nigeria remotely, they can be encouraged to take these jobs internationally and remain where they are and basically take care of themselves and still have that hope for their career and all of that and take care of their families as well too. So yeah, that's my own personal contribution. And I strongly implore, every Nigerian in diaspora to do the same thing. As long as your job accommodates, remote functionality and all of that, please think Nigeria, think, our young creatives and all of that. So that is my, contribution. I would continue to do that and, delegate managerial, duties and all of that with Nigerian creatives and everything. And pretty soon we're growing really big and all of that. And it's gonna be very big in Lagos. And,
right.
And yeah, at the end of the day, I wouldn't regret the move and all of that. Yeah.
Okay, let's just get a final word now from Joyce, if you're back with us. Joyce, I just want to know, there's a recent report by QZ that said that the current brain drain in Nigeria will be felt for 2 generations. Is that something that worries you?
It doesn't worry me because, well, before I answer, please let me just celebrate Max. Thank you for the work you're doing. It doesn't worry me because, Ebuka, you and I are here and we are raising our children. And we're doing the work of going to schools, going to young people to try our best to make them see possibilities. And with the help of our brothers and sisters all over the world, we're showing them that we can. The reason I say it doesn't worry me because the word worry in itself is debilitating. It makes me lose energy. No, it gives me fuel rather to do more work, to show that there is something that needs to be done and done urgently. Ebuka, I know that one of the reasons why we are succeeding as entrepreneurs, as young people, in spite of all the challenges, we're seeing, well, reports have shown that we're seeing spikes in enterprise grow in Nigeria in the past 5 to 6 years. It's because we are so beaten and battered and thrown to the wall. Guess what? We are bouncing back to fight back by being more creative, by being more energetic, by giving more solutions for ourselves. We're trying to fix our own problems. So no, it doesn't worry me, Ebuka. It actually gives me hope that we are going to make it. We are resilient, strong people collectively. And guess what? We know that help is not coming from anywhere. We know that we're the ones going to fix our problems. So guess what? We're going to create more solutions. Ebuka, we've seen it happen. We will see it happen even more. and it's fuel. It's fuel. It's food for us. We're growing.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joyce, for that nice way to end this. It would be nicer, though, if we could be such entrepreneurs without having to bounce off the wall and just do it nicely.
It will
But
be
thank you
so
very
much
much.
nicer. It will be so much nicer.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Thank you very much, Max, for all the great things you're doing. We're going to take a quick break now. We're right back. Please don't go. All right, welcome back. You know, the video you just saw was just a teaser of what's to come on the show today. We have a few social media comedians who are going to be joining us much later. But for now, we're going to be talking personal finance. A good number of Nigerians, if you speak with them, find it very, very hard to save. And we also hear from, you know, the financial sector about how many millions, tens of millions of Nigerians, if not hundreds of millions, who are unbanked. So it makes personal finance conversations very, very important for Nigerians to understand. I have you with me, Shola Adeshakin. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So why is saving important? Because we understand why we need to save. But in a place like this where it's almost impossible to, a lot of Nigerians will tell you they live from hand to mouth. The poverty rate here is skyrocketing. You know, even those who are on paid employment can hardly live on that wage. Is that a possibility even when you're earning so little?
All right, so I always love to say this analogy about savings because I tell people there are 3 things to do to money: make it, manage it, multiply it. So we live in Lagos where sometimes, I mean, if you're depending on water supply from the government, sometimes it might be erratic. So whenever there is no water, you know the stress you go through. So each time the tap starts to run, what do? You put your buckets there. And then when one bucket is full, you start pouring from that bucket into another bucket because you don't know when there's going to be water again. So that is what happens with personal finance. If you do not save for the rainy days, it would always be difficult. And you find out that people would keep going back into the pit hole of debt.
Yeah.
So I know that times are very hard. But you see, I tell people, many people wait for when they earn so much. Or when I earn 100,000, I would save. So personal finance is about building the muscles. So when you build the muscles, when you're able to save 2,000 when you're earning 20,000, it'll be easy to save 20,000 when you're earning 200,000. So even though the money is not much, you're not earning so much, it is important to put something aside because life happens. There always will be a rainy day. There will always be emergencies. If you're married, your children don't announce to you when they're going to have fever. You know, your landlord wouldn't be so nice to say, oh, you have lived here for 10 years. Don't bother paying for next year's rent.
Yeah.
So saving is so important. And, you know, the principle of saving is don't eat all your harvest. Because if you eat it, when the next planting cycle comes, you don't have anything to plant. And what that means is that there will be no further harvest.
I hear you there, but you know, when you talked about, you know, emergencies, it's very true. But a lot of Nigerians will tell you that living in Nigeria every day now is an emergency. Just painting a scenario. Let's imagine a man or a woman who earns 80,000 naira at their place of work monthly. You know, they live on the mainland, their office is on the island. They're probably married with 1 or 2 children. And you factor in transportation every day. You factor in the fact that they have to feed, and the kids are going to school. Maybe one partner is not working. How possible is it for someone like that to say, okay, I'm going to set aside any amount of money at all? And how significant is that saving even going to be? If I'm able to save 1,000 naira every month, at the end of the year, I have what? 12,000 naira. What does that mean anything for me? So why don't I just try and exist until I can actually save?
So 2 things. Expenses are sacrosanct. Whether you're making money or not, you must spend. So once we establish that fact, one thing I tell people is look for ways of, you know, making more money, multiple sources of income. Now, that might sound like a cliche, but, you know, except you kind of increase the amount of money that comes to you, you might, you know, keep falling back into debt and, oh, the money is not enough and all of that. So I tell people, look for little things you can add in addition to what you currently do. It is possible. COVID has made us realize that, I mean, you can actually juggle so many things. So that's on one side. On the second side, a lot of people don't plan. You must realize what expenses are necessities and what expenses are nice to have. Necessities on a monthly basis are groceries, light, maybe internet, depending on the kind of job you do. So when you list it out, we teach the 50, 30, 20% rule in budgeting. So 50 should go into your necessities. Write them out. So a lot of people, when you talk to them, they're like, I don't even know. How much would it cost your family, to sustain yourselves for a month? They're like, I don't know. And then they don't plan. And then when some, unexpected things happen, they just say, no, I can afford this. And they go for such things. So 50, 30, 20. Have a list of what it would cost to run your family or to maintain your lifestyle or maintain your survival, so to say. So when you list those things out, you know how much you need more to make. You know areas of leakages. A lot of Nigerians, I know things are hard, but we still indulge in some things that we should, be able to pass on. Sometimes we don't practice delayed gratification. I'm sorry, for women, sometimes we all know our excesses. There are some things that you can delay. There are some things that you can buy much later. So when you have an idea of what you need, you necessarily must spend on a monthly basis, then you know, okay, I need to make this more. I need to stop this until I am able to afford it. Yeah. So it works. Planning and budgeting is very key.
Okay, before we go, let's just talk about, what's a good way to save? The savings accounts used to be very, very, very attractive. There are people who have doubts about it now because, first of all, maybe the interest rate is not that great anymore. Also, there's people who have some bank drama. It's like, I want my money back now and I can't get it because of whatever issues. What's a good way for someone who's trying to save? What do they do to save?
Okay, so there are fintech platforms that even offer rates higher than what you would have in your savings account. So fintech platforms, if you do your research, I don't want to mention names, 500, 1,000. Sometimes you can even automate them. So you can say, every month, debit me with 5,000, 10,000. Every week, debit me with 2,000, depending on your income. That's one way, and it works. A lot of people swear by it. I do it as well, So automate your savings using fintech platforms. Traditional thrift contribution, I do that. I've been in a thrift contribution within my investment club that we have been running for 4 years. Some people 50,000, some people 100,000, some people 20,000, merge, come together. Now, the advantages of thrift contribution is that you're able to have bulk sum after a certain period. It has disadvantages because if it is too long, don't forget the time value of money. So I encourage people 6 months, many people, so that, 6 month cycle, everybody gets to collect. Another disadvantage is that you're not earning interest on it. But it's a very, very good way of saving money. Another, conventional way or traditional method is cooperatives. You pull your funds together. The only thing is that you can't easily pull out. But you know that the money is there. Whenever you want to pull out, you can pull out. And there are mutual funds in Nigeria that you can start with a minimum of 5,000 naira. These things are not difficult. Small money, small money, small money. And of course, the traditional piggy bank. By the way, I brought my piggy banks for your children, So teach your children to do that as well. But saving is putting money aside, first of all. Investing is putting money to work. It starts with saving. Learn the habit of putting aside. 1,000, 5,000, 50,000, depending on your budget and what you can set aside. Like I said earlier.
What's the biggest myth or misconception of savings before we go?
I'm not making enough.
I'm not making enough.
Yeah, that's what I hear all the time. I'm not making enough. It's not enough. You already said it, but you see, like I said, we encourage people to save between 10 to 20% of their earnings. But if you're earning 30,000 and you can't even remove 3,000 on a monthly basis, when you earn 300,000, you would find it difficult to put aside 30,000.
I hear that a lot. People say if you can't save when you're earning small, you will never be able to save when you're earning a lot. But there are a lot of people who will tell you, when I didn't have anything, I couldn't save. But now that I'm making money, I'm actually better able to plan. Isn't that true?
Oh, well, it happens. It happens. But more often than not, it's about cultivating the right habits. You see, those who suddenly, so to say, stumble into money, ask them. There's always that point where you come to realize that there's a need to plan my finances. And then you just make up your mind one day. So if you did not learn it when you were earning so small, you learn it when the money comes. But, generally it just helps, to build the muscles and learn to save irrespective of the amount you're earning.
Yeah. So I want to talk about young people now. I know you've talked about fintech and all of that. And a lot of young people, especially when you're just starting off a career, find it hard to understand the savings culture. especially at a time like this now where there seems to be, I mean, we live in a social media world. There's so many attractions that you might want to spend money on or you think you need, but you don't necessarily need. Is the advice different for young people with regards to how they should sort of channel their finances and be more disciplined, for example?
I love the question. I was speaking somewhere to Gen Z, and I said, you have technology to your advantage. When I was growing up, nobody was telling me about saving, not even my parents. So I literally emulated what I saw. Oh, no money, that's it. No saving, that's it. But these days, see, technology has revolutionized the world of personal finance. So my advice to young people is the principles of financial literacy remain the same. And there are three things. Have the right mindset about money. There's no time to go into that, right? Embrace financial knowledge and then cultivate the right skill set. Saving, investing, budgeting, and all of that. So for young people, I think you have a lot of advantages. There are things you can do. I mean, I was saying it yesterday that a few years ago, I wanted to buy US shares, and because I didn't have a social security number, I couldn't buy it. But these days, right on my phone, I can buy US stocks. I can buy Amazon stocks. I can buy Google stocks. I can buy different stocks. And you know what? As at the last time I checked, an Amazon stock was going for $3,200. But I can buy $50 worth, what you call fractional shares. You can buy $10 worth, $20 worth on a monthly basis. That's what technology has done. We didn't have it back then. Millennials, Gen X, and all of that. But for Gen Z, for younger people, you can buy stocks. There are so many apps that would help you plan and budget. So many apps to help you save. And, so technology, I think, is the game changer for young people. But first of all, have the right mindset about money. Embrace financial literacy, embrace knowledge, and then cultivate this skill set. And don't be under pressure because this person is doing this, that other person is doing this. You think about the future. Overseas, there are a lot of young people who are multi-billionaires. Startup businesses are being, driven by the younger generation. So it's doable. Yeah. Let's leverage technology.
And that was one big theme I think I've gotten from you today is about discipline, So there are people who, let me paint a scenario of someone who doesn't earn a lot of money and is quite disciplined with how they spend. They're probably saving whatever it is they can. They live within their means. Something, business, whatever it is happens and there's a windfall and a huge amount of money comes into, their space or their bank account or whatever it is. Are they allowed to splurge? Is it wrong for them to say, okay, at least let me spoil myself a little? Or is that also now indiscipline on their part with their finances?
So remember I said the 50, 30, 20% rule. 50% for your necessities. 30% for your wants. Nice to have. So that's for splurging. Because, Ebuka, I've realized that many times we work. You just realize you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, you haven't done anything for yourself. See, the system is designed to collect from you. Taxes, vendors, school fees, house rent, and all of that. You must take care of yourself because you are the engine, you are the vehicle. If you break down, there's no money. Mm-hmm. So you must necessarily find means of taking care of yourself. I have a friend every month when she earns her salary, she goes to a restaurant. Every month. She orders good food and then she would say, my soul, you have worked well this month. Eat this food. So it's okay to splurge, but plan for it.
Thank you very much. Hopefully people who need to listen have been listening. I mean, it's a very easy thing to navigate. It's talking about savings. I think people have financial, I don't want to say issues, but need to talk about finance even after retirement. In fact, sometimes most importantly, at retirement even. So thank you very much for your insights. We're going to take a quick break now and be right back. Please don't go away.
Ladies, I'm going to teach you something. My name is Flora, aka Floxy Florendo. Don't take back your ex. What is gone is gone. You can do without a man. You don't need a man. You can survive without. A man does not define who you are. A man does not say who you are. It's Chukwudi. Hello, Chukwudi. This is Flora. What happened?
Open, my love, my heart. I'm sorry now.
Why didn't you apologize yesterday now?
Welcome to the house, my love. Okay. Come. Let me give you some sugar.
I'm coming. In life, you have to take some decisions sometimes. Like this one, choco this. It's okay, I'm talking too much. Let me just go and get ready. Let me just go. It's like this motivational speaker is not for me. Oh, let me go.
Nobody can take you away from me, my love.
Absolutely nobody, lady.
Make water leave my eye, I call you my water leaf. Body on che che che, atarodo mo you the pepe demo. Toito, mato, consigo peo, apato pepe rempe, John Mashimi le she wo. I don't wanna hear say you there with another man. The way your body rotate, whoa.
I don't want to see with another man.
Nobody move.
All right, welcome back. I have two special guests here with me. I'm going to call them their government names. Let's see if you know them. Omozole Gabriel and Aloma Isaac Jr. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
What are your aliases? Miss Gabby?
Flora 222.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I really don't know. It just came out from my head the first day I was doing it. And I used Flora. Not like I planned to use.
And your Zix Aloma?
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Zix from Isaac, Aloma from Aloma. Aloma is actually my surname.
Okay,
like Aloma,
so
I just merged them together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when did you stumble into this social media comedy life?
So I did one 2019. It was just cruise. I was just chilling and I did it. So, who hold me small. At 2020, after the lockdown, and I decided to start something. And I was thinking, since the Nollywood industry was not, favorable for the girl, and I had to start something. And I started the 222.
So you had seen, of course, people doing it on social media, which was the attraction for you?
No. Actually, I would like to say that I was the first person that started it.
Okay.
That 222, my name is Flora. But I'd seen people doing skits.
Yeah, doesn't mean you had seen people doing skits.
Yes. I'd seen people, I've seen Zeke. It was so nice, and I wanted to do something, but not like their own, because I didn't think I had the idea for it. But, so I started something that was comfortable for me.
So you wanted to be an actress, you say?
Yes.
You still want to be that?
I'm still fighting the dream.
So which wins now? If acting takes over, does this die?
No, it can't die. I love this.
Let's come to you, Isaac. I know you were on a reality competition.
Yes.
The Voice, I believe.
Yeah, I was on The Voice.
So music was your dream?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Along the line, as she said, in Lagos, everything has to be settled. If this one will work, this one will work. So that's what happened. After my exit from The Voice in 2017, I needed to keep my page going. Okay. I don't know, I just started doing comedy.
Were you always funny?
No. In fact, people who previously, they were like, how? You know, it's a thing where people who know me before see me, I'm like, how are you like that on TV? Why people who see me on TV or on social media see me live, I'm like, yeah, are you this normal? Why are you quiet? Are you shy? But I was like, this is how I'm actually quiet.
So what sparked it for you?
I don't know. I think I've been doing it since 2017, but I became really extra during the lockdown. When I joined TikTok, I became creative. In fact, it was during TikTok I now knew I had some qualities that were really distinct. People started talking about my facial expressions.
Hilarious.
So, yeah. So I just pounced upon those things that people were really dwelling on. And when I was doing TikTok, whenever I did a male character, it didn't go viral. Whenever I made a female character, it went viral. I was like, okay, it's like this where I would stay.
Let's see where this market will sell to.
You understand?
So, I mean, a lot of people who, the world, in fact, had a tough time in 2020, with the lockdown, the pandemic, and all of that. But you guys thrived in that because there was a lot of free time, so it was like creative juices were flowing. You are saying 2020 was when things sort of started for you. So you turned basically sort of a terrible time into a win.
Yes, because during the lockdown, I didn't have a phone. So it was really dark for me. So coming out of the lockdown, I felt like everybody was ahead of me. I felt like people had done things already. So at some point, I was putting myself under pressure to come up with something for myself because I was at a very dark place. But, 2020 brought out the best in me, actually, at the end of it all.
How was it? How hard or easy was it being creative? Because I know for a lot of people who do comedy, creativity comes from interacting with people, things you see.
Yeah.
But now you're in your home, locked up.
Yeah.
Was it easier or harder to get inspired?
It was actually easier for me.
Okay.
Because TikTok is a place where you get in-app content. So, and TikTok has a way of giving you your own kind of content. I don't know how it just works. Just join the app and you start getting, it just seems like an advertising. But that's how it is. So, content was never a problem for me. And I'm someone who I can just see something, see her doing something. It's content for me.
Yeah.
I just expand it. Because I also studied creative writing in school.
Yeah.
So it aids everything. Yeah. So.
How did this character come to life? This one.
I think it's actually one of my earliest characters. You know, I've always been a church.
And where did you get this tomato from? But go on.
My mama. Everything is my mom's. So this is like my earliest character. So I've been a church person. I've gone to different kinds of churches. So she just came out from
Things you had
things
seen.
I've experienced. Yeah. So some things I do with her, actually things that I saw in some churches. Of course, I wouldn't want to mention their names. But they're actually realistic. In as much as people feel, okay, I'm making the ridicule, but trust me, these things are actually true.
Yeah.
That happens, yes.
Sure.
So what does the family think about this now? Because for you now, this is a career you're building. You know, a lot of people who are not Gen Z or even millennials don't understand that you are working and it's on social media. You don't go to the office. You don't wake up on Monday and, you know, dress up and go to work. And this is what you call work. Do your parents get it? What does your family think? Are they supportive?
They have been 100% supportive because I've always been the funny one at home. I've always been the ginger one. I've always been the one making them laugh. I like to think I'm funny sometimes. So it was not a surprise for them because I studied theater arts in school.
Okay.
So my family already knew what line I was going into. So they support me. My father is my #1 fan. He's always happy to watch me. He always wants to watch me. So they all have been supportive for me. Yeah.
When was the first time you got a check that you realized, oh, this thing is not bad? I mean, this your wig is killing me.
2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I saw an alert. My brother is doing me like this. I said,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got some alert. I'm like, this is the part for you. This is your part. Follow me.
It's working. Is this your wig, or did you collect it from somebody? Because I don't want to believe you bought this thing.
So the first one I was using was my wig. Then this one, then a fan saw it. I was like, oh, so since you like this kind of wig, let's send you something like this.
So they sold it into your life?
Yes, and they sowed the seed. And I saw it, I'm like, thank you. I'm grateful.
What about you? I mean, when did you realize, okay, this thing is a good way to actually live? Because you do a lot of paid content as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was after the lockdown. In fact, people know I was working. I was actually lecturing in Cardinal Polytechnic.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was lecturing there. So, but during the lockdown, when I started doing well on TikTok, I started getting some small... people, when the lockdown was called off, people started really knowing me more while I was working. Students were like, I used to watch you on TikTok. When the day I got verified on TikTok, like, I'm like, do you guys really watch? So it was just like, at this point, you need to move. And that was in Kaduna. So I just had to... I think I sold my car then.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I sold my car. I said I wouldn't stay with anybody. I used the money I used in selling my car, rented a very small apartment so that at least this one I'll be able to manage and renew. But I just came to Lagos. I started getting more paid ads. I was getting endorsements. I was like, are you serious? This is happening too fast. So it was just like a very fast turnaround. Yeah.
So some of you get criticized, though, especially you guys who do the female version, you know, or who sort of make comedy out of acting as women. Yeah. Do you think that's a valid thing? Because like you said, I mean, it's almost like you're funnier when you're being a woman as against a man. And that people say, why? Why are you parodying women all the time?
Yeah, I think I'm actually funny at playing female characters. As I said, TikTok really defined what I was going to do. When I joined it, I was actually playing male characters. Then once in a while, I try female characters. Anytime I do the female, people found it funnier. Maybe because females, I don't know, they're more dramatic and more extra. So I think maybe there's more extra.
She's squeezing her face already.
So I think that, so of course, and everybody... what you do cannot sit well with everybody. So the fact is that so long I know what I'm doing, I don't think it's bad. And I also know people fight. There are people who really want to see more. There are days if I don't drop, I'll see people on my DM. Please drop content. You make me happy. You bring me out of depression. So long I get to satisfy those kind of people, I don't. Those few that say, okay, what you're doing is trash. It doesn't really matter to me, and it pays my bill. Yeah, so that's why it's fine.
Is creating content as easy as people think?
No, it's
not at all.
It's not. Before you can think of something, thinking of something is something that you think of and it makes you, it's actually funny. will the world see it as funny?
I was going to say that. So how do you know if people are going to find? Because sometimes you might think it's funny and then you drop it and people are like, this one no enter.
So I have really, sincere friends around me. Yeah. So whenever I finish creating something or if I want to drop something, I just say, what do you think about this? My friends are very blunt, so they just tell me, I don't think it's funny. Yeah. It's better than your previous job. You can do better. Sometimes they give me ideas. So I just surround myself with people that are really blunt, open-minded, that are easy to talk to. So that's how it works for me.
How often do you have like blank moments when you're like, maybe for days, you can't seem to come up with anything?
Every day I feel that way. I just have to get into my own zone, feel myself, think about some kind of things, watch some videos. Sometimes I just don't go on social media. I just watch videos, clips, so many things. And I just see, okay, I can build something there. So most times I'm blank, and I don't know why, but I just need to get in my zone, get in my space, and I'll kick it.
So for the longest time, being a comedian meant either being a stand-up comedian or doing sitcoms. That was what traditional comedy seemed to like a lot of people. Do you feel like you're getting taken seriously by comedians with what you do on social media?
Yes, I think recently, yes.
It took them a while to come around.
Yes, because when I started, I've even gotten some funny comments from some stand-up comedians. I wouldn't want to call their names.
Sort of saying, what are you doing?
What are these ones doing? But recently, I've been hit by some stand-up comedians for skits. So it means it's like these people, some...
They want to tap into the glory.
Yeah, because when we started and maybe there are some announcements about us, they'll be like, they know what they are doing to get what they are getting.
Yeah. True.
But I think that it's coming into reality that these guys are actually making money from this online thing. Yeah. And with the corona and all that, I think they know that online is like more the in thing right now. So I think...
So are you comfortable working in that space? At least to both of you, but let me start with you now, because we've seen what the federal government did with Twitter. Twitter just suddenly switched off. Your office is basically social media.
Yeah.
Do you see it as a long-lasting career? Or are there plans for, what happens if this just stops working?
Yeah, I see it as a long-lasting career, but of course I have my plans. Because I plan, in case, if tomorrow there's no Instagram, I can't become poor again. So yes, that's the fact. So I'm making plans. I have long-term goals. I'm setting up side passive businesses.
Yes.
So I don't set up actively because, of course, I'm an entertainer. Yeah. So I have my passive plans that I'm secretly doing that. Okay, if they take this thing out, I'll not become poor again, though. So that one is there. You have to plan, even though you don't really see any clear thing that tells you that Instagram will not be there tomorrow. Yeah. But you have to plan as a wise person.
Same for you?
And just like he said, you would have plans, but I hope to take this to the end.
Wherever it's going.
Yes, exactly. I hope to follow it. It's not about the fame, it's not about the money. It's the idea that when you create something, people enjoy it, people want to watch, people are excited. When people see you and tell you, oh my God, I watch your skits, I'm doing this. So sometimes it is beyond the Instagram fame, the Instagram popularity. It is more about fulfillment for me. Yeah. And it does it for me, and I want to, do it long term.
Awesome. Very quickly before we go now, what's next for Flora 222?
Oh,
we're in the second half of the year now. What should we look out for?
Yes, so I'm starting my YouTube series soon.
Awesome.
Yes, because I've not really done anything on YouTube. So I'm going into YouTube now, my Facebook page, and I'm hoping, by the grace of God, to do my own cinema film.
Awesome. Yes. Big dreams. Mm-hmm. And you?
I'm actually working on a cinema movie.
We're seeing a lot of...
I'm actually working on a cinema movie.
Mercy Johnson on your page. So are collaborations coming?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Okay.
And more YouTube short films with other people, like short, continuous series.
Yeah.
But the biggest one I think I'm working on is a cinema movie, which I hope it will be out before December. And it features some big names.
You guys are dropping life. Congratulations on everything, and I wish you all the best with what you do. Flora 222 is the handle, I believe.
Miss Gabby on
Miss
Instagram.
Gabby on Instagram. Zixaloma
on
Instagram and TikTok as well. Follow them, please.
ZICSALOMA.
MIZGABBIE. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us today, and all the best.
You.
Well, like I always say, you can follow the conversation on social media. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you send us a message. I'll see you next Sunday.